right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Great to have you all here today. Today is July 13th, 2021. This is episode 113. And today we're going to take a look at trait 62 in quality 1. So today we're going to take a look at transcending the boredom of details through fantasy. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. All right, before we get started, let's say hello to our panel. And we have a special guest today. So Shelley, it's so great for you to have you join us today. So love to have you say hi and just quickly introduce yourself.
Thanks, Karen. It's a pleasure to be here. It's really fun to be able to look at the details of each of the traits. And today's being all about the details. That's even better. I'm currently certified profit potential coach and BG5 consultant, and just really enjoying working with Karen and Natalie and Linda in delivering the profit potential course again. And that's been lots of fun to go through it one more time and get another level of details. So today is all about details.
Yes, exactly. Fabulous. Well, it's great to have you join us, Shelley. Welcome. And let's go to Natalie. Hey, Natalie, welcome.
There we go. Yay. Happy to be here, and wonderful to have you, Shelley. It's great to have different voices every now and then. So yes. Thanks for joining.
Exactly. And Linda. Hey, Linda.
Hello. I'm happy to be here, and looking forward to not only look to details, but also see what kind of fantasies will pop up. You never know.
Love it. All right. Well, again, welcome everyone who is here live in our Zoom room, watching via Facebook, or watching the recording. So great to have you all here. So let's dive in. Again, we're going to take a look at trait 62 in quality 1, transcending the boredom of details through fantasy. So again, just to give us a perspective of where we are at. In July, the theme is the provoking pressure to begin something new by sharing detailed, stimulating stories that influence others. So we're at that part of that sharing detailed, stimulating stories this week and next week. So we're starting with the 62. We're back in the communication and action function. We were down in the pressure function. We are now again, that arrow's the wrong direction. It should actually be pointing to the 62. And the 62 is up here in communication and action. So we took a look at obstruction, provocation, the journey towards spirit last week, as well as new beginnings in the 53, the pressure for transition and change. We have now moved into details in the 62. This is the preponderance of the small. This is the voice of I think. So there may be a lot of thinking going on and looking at the details. Next week, we'll take a look at stimulation. We'll take a look at the storyteller and I believe. And then we will wrap up July with influence, the natural expression of leadership and I lead. So the last 3 traits that we are going to be taking a look at here in July all are about purpose fulfilled through form. And we're moving back to the communication and communication and action function in taking a look at those traits. And all of these traits you will notice are directly connected here to communication and action. So a little correction from last week. So actually I was correct. However, on that particular day, it was in retrograde. So we now have the background frequency of faith. Again, it's in quality 5, the trust and the detailed adherence. that will lead to fulfillment, and also the 16 in the future direction, the Grinch and the refusal to share enthusiasm. And I know Shelley, you were mentioning this right before we went live. I didn't know if there was anything that you wanted to add to this in taking a look at, again, just something to recognize as part of what the background frequency is all about currently, as we move into both the 9 in quality 5 and the 16 in quality 5.
Yeah, just some things I was reading just before class today was more about, having the faith or a lack of faith that you have the ability to focus on the details in order to bring that value by concentrating. And, looking at both sides of whether or not you can share your enthusiasm or not. It was just very interesting to me to see that was the background frequency happening right now. It's a lot of change happening and a lot of people questioning, wondering if what they're doing is lined up and in the right place. So yeah, those were just the few things that I noticed was, it's about, having faith or not. So about focusing on the details and having that faith, knowing that things will sort of work themselves through, but being aware that that's the frequency right now. So that may be something happening for people.
Yes, exactly. And especially also having, right, the 62 as well. So we have the 62, the 16, and the 9, right? All of them deal with focus, with logic. That's all part of the logic circuit. So you may find a lot of focus detail going on. And what's interesting is on the other side of the 62, I was just taking a look at this. On the other side of the 62 is the 61, which is this inner truth. And so in a sense, we're taking a look at the details of our own inner truth as well for this next week also. So quite fascinating. Thank you for that, Shelley. All right, so let's now take a look at what this 62 of detail is all about. So it's the preponderance of the small. This is manifestation. It's connected to communication and action. It's manifestation through detail. This is the voice of I think. And it's about caution, patience, and detail produce excellence out of limitation. I have the Rubik's Cube here. The Rubik's Cube here. And again, it takes patience, focused on the details, right? It feels like a limitation because everything's mixed up. But through that caution, patience, and detail, you can produce excellence out of limitation. So again, you may feel some limitation. And again, it's just time to take it slow, time to focus on the detail, time to have patience, and allow that patience and caution and detail to allow the excellence to reveal itself right out of the limitation. It's also, when we take a look at the detail, it's the fixing of names. And the fixing of names is the foundation of humanity and for sharing the human experience, right? We name everything, right? The reason we're able to communicate is because we have names for things. So this is about cutting things apart into the big details and naming all of those different elements and things, and even how they all come together. So it's the fixing of names. This is where the naming of things come from. This is the knack for organizing details in order to better understand and explain complex concepts or situations. And this is the logical expression that can help make concepts tangible so that they can be repeated, that they can be tested, that they can be validated or disproven by others. This is also a projected trait, a projected strength, meaning that when you wait for recognition, right? So waiting to be asked to speak, this will increase the potential receptivity of what you are sharing and help avoid bursting out the facts that no one is interested in, right? So oftentimes, if you speak without being invited, no matter what career type you happen to be, if it is not invited, people just, they don't get it. they're not receptive to what you have to say. But when people are ready, remember it's about patience, cautions, and waiting to be asked to speak. When you are able to speak at the right moment, right, those details are going to become important, and it's what people will want to hear. So I would love to hear from our panel. I don't believe that any of us have the 62. So if any of you do have the 62 and and would like to share with us, we would love to hear from you as well. So would you like to start, Natalie?
I was actually laughing about another tail that is kind of swinging here. Anyway, we heard Moxie, so maybe she was reacting. So I do not have this particular trait, but I know the logical stream very well, right? Having the format energy of this circuitry. What I found interesting is that it actually focuses on giving things names, right? So the information comes through the inspiration and then formalizing and through the inspiration function, through opinions, and then being expressed. So this is the expression of details of what is formalized and how how to organize and how to make things more organized, right? But it's actually giving words to concepts, creating names for things and logic. And I find that fascinating about this particular type of detail, right? I have other types of details and focus in my design. But with that, we are able to understand the concepts that are created in inspiration. So,
yes.
And make it tangible. So, And that's the other thing about this whole stream is the repetition, right? For it to be tested, for it to be perfected, and in this case, for it to be tested and validated so that we can use it in our society or in work or in our life. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, thank you, Natalie. How about for you, Linda?
Yes, I was contemplating while Natalie was sharing, and I feel like in the times we are in now and the traits we have been through, I find it fascinating to notice with myself and also with the clients I work with that I am discussing with them the details of what's going on in their lives, like their inner truth is emerging. I feel like there's a kind of pressure to get aligned with your design. And I feel like I'm discussing with them what they think about their life, about their career, about what they are doing, and things pop up and they are going into detail to solve what's coming to the surface. And I feel like things are teased out. And I love to, it's amazing to see how all the traits are aligned in this coming or in this month, I should say. And I feel like it's about a deeper understanding. And what makes sense is logic. Is it something that they want to continue with in their life, or does it have to be cleared out to make space or room for something new? And that's wonderful because the next trait will be I believe. And then I feel like if you have solved the things that are underneath the details of things, then there will be room for, okay, I believe. And then you continue. So I have the other side. I have the 17 in my design. So I myself feel really compelled to go into detail about what I'm offering, writing my LinkedIn profile, getting everything right, organize everything, and literally give words to what I'm doing, what I want to share. So yeah, it's amazing. So it's wonderful to experience it, and I'm really looking forward also to hear Debbie talk about this trait, because she has it in her unconscious, how she feels it, but I only feel now a little bit the presence of it. There she is already.
Oh, great. Well, let's go to Debbie, and then we'll go to Shelley.
Yes.
Linda, I'm excited to hear that you have the 17, because I do have the 62 unconscious. And so how the 62 shows up for me, and what I love about this is, as you're talking, Karen, things start coming to my mind. They start coming up. And it happens in actually all of my work. That's what I'm really surprised by. So in my professional career, I'm an accountant. So there's a lot of details, and I just completed an assignment with bringing 2 years of detailed information together for an attorney, because they had to recreate it. And I was really fascinated and excited about it. And I just created the storybook for him, but it was paying attention to the details and being able to look at that. On the other side to this, as my work as a chaplain, I was serving this last Saturday, and there was something compelling me to say, I need to give them more information to help them on this journey who they just lost their father. And so I gathered all these details for them, so they had the information so they could move forward. So I'm really fascinated of how this is showing up.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, really, really great examples.
Debbie, it's her half birthday. It's in her in our unconscious life work. Yeah, in the
Oh,
conscious
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Very powerful. How about for you, Shelley?
Well, I don't have the 62 myself. I'm quite open in the upper part of my design, but I do have the 52, which is all about sitting still and concentrating, and the other side of the 9 on details, which has always been a little bit of a shadow for me. I will sit in stillness and work really hard to get at the details because of that shadow. And also what I recognize hearing this now is, in the first half of my life especially, it took me a while to learn this, I was constantly digging for information, facts, details. I have a lot of ones in my design. And I would then just blurt them out to people and think, well, why can't you make the same sense of those details that I just did? You should be excited because I just gave you a bunch of facts on how life can be better for you, but you've done nothing with it. And I was spent the first half of my life really frustrated that I was sharing all these great detailed information, but nobody was hearing it. And so recognizing that it's an invited trait, it's an advisor circuitry, that someone has to recognize and invite you to share those details with them first, was a huge aha moment for me, and would have saved me a whole lot of frustration as a younger person. I do also have a son and a grandson who have the 62 unconscious, and my grandson is especially curious and always looking for details and facts, and he's an innovator, so he needs information. And he's always looking for more and more details, more and more information. Whereas Dad, I just did his design with him, and he now understands that all those great times he gets those great ideas and all this information, that he does the same thing I used to do, just blurts out the facts when nobody asked him for them. So it's really good to understand that part of that being the advisor circuitry is really quite an important piece, that people need to actually ask you for the information before they're going to hear it at all. So that's my learning in it all.
Yeah, that's a great point. And Debbie, I see you smiling. It looks like you relate to that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just blurt out things to people and they look at me so strangely, and it's just stuff that comes out of my head. It's so funny to hear you share that, Shelley, because that's exactly what I do.
And you can feel quite rejected at times and feel like people don't understand you or get you, and you don't understand why they're not taking in this great information you just provided. So it's all well intentioned. It's just about being aware. Everything about this is about awareness and being aware of how you're communicating, and timing is everything. Timing is everything.
You know, sometimes I say, well, not that you've asked for this, but, and then I turn around and just blurt it.
Still uninvited. Still uninvited.
Yes, you're right. That's true.
It can work if you say something like, you know, I notice you're struggling with this thing. I might have some information for you that could be helpful, and wait to see how they respond. If they say, oh, yes, I'd be interested, or no, leave me alone, then you can at least start pre-framing and pre-recognizing and inviting yourself, but giving them the option to say yes or no. I found that actually works as well. So it's so hard when you have so much great stuff to share.
Yeah. We have Rob, our Rob from who was on our team in the Facebook, and he has the 1762, the full strength, and the 62 in his past direction. And the way that it shows up most frequently for him is the ability to take concepts such as BG5 and explain or present them in a tangible, practical, or useful way. And most people that he helps with this information have this also to say about him and his work with them, right? But it must be requested. And then he shares, like Shelley, I have to run into several, way too many situations where I gave the details unsolicited and ended up frustrated because they weren't implemented or used or even acknowledged and rejected. And he shares also, Debbie, that's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that's what people really that's with everything that's actually up here, and a lot of our strengths in designs are projected strengths. So they need to be recognized, and the traits also need to be recognized and invited, even if you are not an advisor yourself, but you have this in your design.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Was there anything else, Linda, that you wanted to add?
No, it's amazing to just hear it play out. And I feel like I have to take advantage this week to go into details about everything I want to process and create. So I have a busy week ahead of me.
Exactly. So many of you, may be focusing on the details. You may notice a lot more details than you have before. You may be naming things, right? Maybe even emotions or other things that you may have noticed before, but putting names to them. It may be a time to wait for that recognition before just downloading people with details. So all kinds of things to be aware of this week. And today we happen to be in the foundation trait. So it's quality, or I should say the foundational quality. We're in the foundational quality. We are in quality 1. And this is routine. Remember, when we have quality 1, this is the authority. This is the foundation. The elevation is the ability to organize detail through fantasy. The ability to transcend the boredom of routine through a rich and daring fantasy life. Now, on the other side of that, we have the challenge, which is the need for expression, which ignores the details. This is rebellion and its enormous waste of time. So this is also very interesting as well, because this is part of the background frequency of the era of planning. And again, we're transitioning out of the era of planning and we're moving into the era of the individual. This is actually in the era of planning. This is about leaders, and it's what leaders do we trust, right? That's the aspect that it takes a look at. And in the era of planning, again, this is the detail of routine. This is transcending boredom of routine through a rich and daring fantasy life. So in many respects, since around the beginning of the 60s, it was really trusting leaders that are rich and famous, right? If you take a look at who we have, in a sense, respected as leaders, those people that are, promoting things, etc., it's kind of like, oh, if they're rich, if they're famous, they must know what they're doing, right? That's where we've been. One of the things is kind of recognizing this illusion and delusion, because we've also been in illusion and delusion, and where we're moving to is the era of the individual. So phasing new beginnings. This is the 53 in quality 6. We talked a lot about new beginnings last week. And this is the energy to attract support for beginnings based on the success of the past. So this is trusting leaders who have a history of success. So how we view, and this is a big topic nowadays with leaders of our countries, leaders of organizations, leaders of companies, etc. So, are we trusting those that are rich and famous and have everything together? Or are we starting to look for leaders that have a history of success in the past? And again, we are in this phase of moving into something new. So again, it's the energy to attract support for beginnings based on the success of the past. So leadership is going to change as we shift from the era of planning into the era of the individual. So this is something very interesting and fascinating to look at, also as we take a look at this 62 in quality 1 and where we're moving into with the new beginnings. So I would love to hear from our panel, whoever would like to share anything that you see either in this transition from the era of planning to the era of the individual, or anything that you see in this quality 1 of routine.
Oh, yes.
Girls. Yeah.
Yes.
You want to start, Linda? Yeah.
Yeah. I am drawn to the challenge because I feel like, well, I'm just going to talk about the Netherlands. I feel like they have a need for expressions which ignores the details nowadays, because they give a press conference and they just are talking about things, and I feel like you don't know what you are talking about. Things are interpreted, I feel like, not in the right way, but they are just standing there and telling us what to do because they know what they are talking about. And I feel like there is a small transformation coming, that they are not trustworthy anymore. I feel like, okay, people are saying, okay, well, at first we needed to do this, and now this, and with this consequence, and now it's going to be turned around again. I feel like everything, and that's just what I was already sharing also, and also the traits that are now at play in this month. I feel like things are teased out, things are coming to light, things are that we kind of wake up and just see, wait a minute, what's really going on? Like the fantasy, the illusion is going away. It's like a curtain is opening up, and I feel like some people are already peeking through the curtain. Some people say, okay, just let it closed. But that's also the polarization in our society that's playing out, because that are really critical and they are really feeling change is coming and things need to change, and there are people that say no, we just have to go to the old normal. But I feel like the pressure, what I was talking about, that we are put into place. I don't know how to put it in other words. I feel like we are ready for something new. A new, and also because the era of planning is all, we take care of you. So it's from the outside in. We just take a look, okay, what you say, I will do. But now it's going to turn around, and it's from the inside out. okay, this is me. What do I need? What do I want? How do I want to connect? How do I want to do things in relationship to my career, in collaboration, etc. So I feel like literally, yeah, our eyes are opening up, and maybe now we are going to see through the details or through the rebellion, because the leaders of this time, they get away with lots of things because they have done things for the past years, and everyone is okay, we re-elect you, and okay, yes, yes. And now I feel like they are too rebellious. I feel like things are biting them, because I can talk for hours, but because I love to take a look at the bigger picture. But I feel like things are changing a lot, and we are going to see it and feel it, yes, and express it with the 62.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Anything, Shelley or Natalie, that you would like to add, or Debbie?
Yeah, more just similar to what Linda's talking about. I am also sensing this change coming as we move towards 2027, and recognizing that even in our local provincial government here, we've had years and years and years, decades of one way of doing things. It was all about supporting big business and corporations at the expense of everyday people. And the government changed about 3-4 years ago now, longer than that, 4 or 5 years ago now. And the whole focus shifted to serving the people. And I'm very fortunate that the person who is in charge of the province now also happens to be my husband's best friend. So we know him well. And I've done his design, his chart. I've not shared it with him, but he is a natural leader. He's a 2-4, and he has the 7, a very democratic leader. But his whole focus has always been on serving the people. He sees his job as a leader of the province is to serve the people, whereas previous governments were serving themselves and wanting to become, like you said, rich and famous, or being in that era of planning. A lot of what was done was for the benefit of the people in power. And so that shift I've noticed with, and having the benefit of knowing him as a person and knowing he's a good person, he's sincere and is focused on serving the people. I see this era of the individual new beginnings already in transition, with him showing other leaders how it can be done. And in fact, he's had a lot of leaders from other provinces contact him and ask him how he's doing things. And so he's been sharing that with other provinces as well. So to me, just being that close to this kind of change is really kind of exciting and very hopeful in my mind, that to have had the opportunity to show people what true leadership of service of people looks like as an example. So
and that's a beautiful illustration of that shift to the energy to attract support for beginnings based on the success of the past.
Yeah,
like people are coming to him to see how he's doing it based on the success of the past.
Yes, because actually from the time he took power, the first thing he had to do was literally put out a province that was on fire everywhere, forest fires everywhere. And after that, it was the pandemic. And after that, it's now forest fires again. And it's just been one fire after the other. And he's led with his team, whom he entrusts them to do their jobs. He's leading them, and has really shown how to manage through those kind of catastrophes and come out ahead. Like the province has the lowest unemployment rate, the largest savings, the lowest debt, it's just been amazing to watch it unfold and see a really good example of how it can be done, where the focus is on helping everyone, because I know that to be true of him as a person. So
yeah. Oh, I love that, Shelley. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, I have to also think about sorry, Debbie, about a 36 hidden crisis. He is tested. I feel like the true spirit is being called out.
Yeah.
Literally through crisis.
Yes, it likely has. And because he's a 2-4, he literally became a leader by everybody else saying he needed to be the leader. He didn't, he's so humble. He's like, no, exactly. I just want to be in the background and do the work. And no, you need to be the leader. So, he loves people. He loves connecting with people. And it's what he's done all his life, is just meet everyday people. And he literally had to be called out to become a leader. So it's really been interesting to unfold. Yeah.
Wow. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Debbie.
Well, as you guys have been sharing, something that came to mind is just here, I live in Edmonds, Washington, which is the Pacific Northwest. And what I'm thinking of is during the pandemic, and in our small community, we have lots of restaurants. And what I'm seeing about the era of the individual is how we as a community rallied for our restaurants, where we wanted to make sure that they would succeed and that they wouldn't shut down, because there are a lot of businesses that did have to shut down, period, like close. And so there was some rebellion of some of our leaders here locally. And so as you've just been sharing, thinking, wow, I love how this is coming together, where we as individuals want to see the smaller guy, right, succeed, and to help and to support them for their beginnings, because some of them were brand new. So I love how this is, how I see that now through this. And it is about supporting those who have the beginnings. And anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Debbie. And anything, Natalie, that you'd like to add? Or anything in Facebook or the Zoom chat?
Well, there's just a lot of goosebumps in the Zoom chat. And let me go to Facebook. No, Facebook is not up, nothing about this. And if could you go back, please, to the to trade one, to quality one, because so as probably people know by now, I have a half Cuban daughter, and I wasn't supposed to be here right now. I was supposed to be in Cuba, and I didn't go. I decided like a week and a half ago that I didn't want to go because of the situation in Cuba was really bad because of the COVID situation. And I'm doing like this because right now the situation is really bad, and it's not just COVID. It's there's great rebellion. It started on Sunday, so we were not in 62 yet, right? That we just came into 62, but this is, they organize through details through fantasy. If there is any country organized with fantasy and a lot of details, I can go on and on and on. But one thing I remember that like 10 years ago, it's 15 years ago almost, because it was my daughter's 15th birthday. She was small at the time. And I was listening to such a rally of Castro at the time. And he was just going on about the milk for the people and this and that. And I was like, really? You are like the politics of the country, and you talk about how much milk everybody gets every day, or what? I don't even remember what it was about. I was just shocked. But they organize details, but then it's all fantasy. they are rich and have a daring fantasy life. So the government, I'm just saying this out loud on Facebook, but whatever, it's out in Facebook. But then the people, they are just, it's heartbreaking. And it's for the first time in the history of 60 years of repression that they stand up. And they stand up and blood is shed already. So, but on the other side, I'm really happy that they stand up, that finally, there is a voice, there is a thing come. So there is this, it's more in the challenge now, right, than the rebellion. But that was what crossed my mind, like, and then maybe Cuba is an extreme because of the communism and how it is organized. And the people believed it for long and just said yes, all of this fantasy. But if you see the country, it's just destroyed, like the beautiful buildings, everything. And there's literally nothing now. There's literally no food, no medicine, no nothing, like and then they sell in dollar stores, and most of the people don't even have dollars, they have the pesos. So you have to, it's crazy. Anyway, so pray for Cuba.
Yes.
But I'm personally quite happy that the universe withheld me from going there, because I would have been in the middle of revolution maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking up, I was trying to find the celebrity for the day, and I was looking up, the days today and tomorrow, kind of around this time. Also, the French Revolution happened right around when it was in the 62. It was in the 62 too, or I would have put revolution, but it's interesting that in the 62 too is when the Equality 2, which will be in tomorrow, is when the French Revolution took place. So again, the revolution and rebellion there as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And Lisa says, "Oh, sad." Yeah, and Liana says, "Praying for Cuba with you." Yes. And you've been there, Liana. That's beautiful. I've been there many times. And but I do have hope, and my hope is that, and this is also part of design, like out of chaos comes order, and with order comes freedom, and comes the other side. If there was no chaos, if the people didn't stand up, the repression would just continue on. So.
Right. Exactly. So breaking out of that fantasy, breaking out of the limitations, things are shifting and changing and standing up as individuals as we move in away from the era of planning and moving towards the age of the individual. This is part of what it looks like. Right. So there can be chaos, there can be confusion, there can be revolution, there can be all of this stuff. You may be feeling the pressure, right? Things are right in the middle of that change. And I think, for myself personally, knowing that that's what's afoot, knowing that that's what's happening, just like what Natalie said, gives me peace of mind that in a sense it's happening for a reason. And to relax into it, not to resist or have fear, but know that this is part of the process. This is part of being able to be the witness of this change, moving from the era of planning, moving into the era of the individual. And it's not always pretty, and it's not always nice, and it's not always easy.
Yeah, I'd love to paraphrase something that Chris used to say, that when you bring down a building, you don't go in with a toothpick, you go in with a wrecking ball, you go in with dynamite. So that's the phase that we are living up to 2027. We have to break down the system, and it doesn't go with the toothpick. It doesn't go with lovey-dovey.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it leads to new beginnings. So
yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And new beginnings, we had new beginnings, last week as well. The new beginnings, a lot of times things need to break down so that those new beginnings can actually move forward.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, in finally finding a celebrity, I thought this was amazing. So Erno Rubix, I had no idea that the Rubik's Cube was actually named after someone. He was actually the inventor of the Rubik's Cube. So he was a Hungarian inventor, architect, and professor of architecture. He became famous for inventing the Rubik's Cube and other puzzles, and much of his recent work involves the promotion of science and education. So Rubik's is involved in several organizations, such as Beyond the Rubik's Cube, which aim to engage students in science, mathematics, and problem solving at a young age. And if you take a look at what the core essence is, the core essence of the 62 in Quality 1 is the life work theme is the material world. So you are a powerful force of education who understands that logic can transform and heal, creating and using language to name, give form, and to describe inner truths hidden in the details. So I thought this was a this was a perfect representation.
Yes.
I was never able to do that.
Do it. No, you know what I did? I took out a piece and then I broke it apart and put it back in.
Yeah.
That was my logic.
Done, yes.
Right, moving around the obstacles, right?
Yes,
From last week.
Core essence.
Oh my goodness, it didn't make sense to me. And then I see people. Yeah, she's a rebellion. Yes, she is. And they can in a few seconds they can underwater and with their feet. I don't know. They just, I think, mind blowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not for me.
And this is kind of the routine, but if you're like bored, right? Kind of the fantasy of being able to figure out the Rubik's Cube, whatever that happens to be. So
yeah,
I thought this was a perfect representation as far as our celebrity goes.
Yeah, and that he actually went into education, right?
Right, exactly. So now he works in education and encourages and engages students in science and mathematics and problem solving. I think it's really perfect.
There's something really cool about the using language to name, give form, or to describe the inner truths hidden in the details. Something that popped to mind, I've been watching a lot of quantum physics and science and math, and sacred geometry, and just oh man, you get into that world and the details, the truths hidden in the details of math alone are incredibly mind-blowing. So, and it seems infinite and never ending, like we'll never really discover what it is, because it's emerging and evolving. Every time we look for something new, we actually create it so that we can look at it, so we can search for something else new. It's this ongoing infinite expression of math being the foundation of the universe. It's truly amazing. So that really does describe the whole basis of life itself and the universe. That's incredible.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's what I find so fascinating about BG5 too, is, all of the details that we can really get into to understand how someone operates, how their career design works. What are your strengths? What are, some of the aspects of your design is all in the detail yet synthesized together. I love that, Shelley. Yeah.
It goes deeper and deeper and deeper. It doesn't end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think it's all there to keep us constantly looking for the answer. It's infinite, it's never ending. And that's what keeps us all in the fantasy, but also always searching, always looking for more, always evolving further. So it's kind of like the nature of things. We're never going to get to the end of the internet. It's just the same thing.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. That we can learn so much along the way, all part of the process of evolution.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, can you hear that plane?
Yes.
That is really loud.
Oh, no, I thought you could maybe hear the excavator in my backyard.
I Okay.
Rebellious neighbors somewhere.
I know.
But it sounds like something like a helicopter circling.
I know. We do have the Air Force Academy just south of us, but normally when we hear planes, they fly over and they go away. But that was kind of strange. Okay. Who knows? Anyway, so let's wrap things up again. Ponder, everyone on our panel, what you want to leave everyone with as far as what to think about or focus on, or the details to look at over this next week. Again, if you are new to BG5, you want to get your chart, you can download your chart on our website at bg5businessinstitute.com. Again, you can also follow us or watch past episodes in our free resource library, or you can take a look at what is the trait for the day in BG5 Live. And we have our courses coming up in September. So we'd love to have you join us for our courses starting in September. And Linda's going to be teaching the BG5 Foundation course. So would love to have you join us.
Debbie is assisting.
Yes. Oh, Debbie's assisting too. Amazing. Yay. So yeah, come join Linda and Debbie in the foundation course. You're in for quite a treat. All right. So let's wrap everything up. So I'd love to hear from each of our panel. What are some things for people to be aware of, to think about or pay attention to this week? Would you like to start, Natalie?
Yeah. So I'm sure that others have beautiful, mind-blowing sharings, and I'm going to have a fun one. No, because I'm really fascinated about this, that the 62 names things, right? And makes concepts into words for us to understand and to grasp, etc. So we're really at the beginning. It's quality one. So it's the 5-6 days that we are in this trade. So you can really observe if and where around you new concepts or things are formalized and then are giving names, are put into words, into maybe new words arise out of this chaos that is going on, right? Or things like that. So watch, when you watch the news or hear things see in the newspaper or whatever. So that's my little treat for today.
I love it. Beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. And let's go to Linda.
Oh, Natalie, I instantly have to think about, instead of calling people wappies, they call it snappies.
Oh, really?
But that's
something.
It's just a Dutch. I cannot explain it, but it's.
That happened today. That's great. Yeah.
So that's and also what I was contemplating is BG5 with board. So that's whatever transit we have, we never will have the boredom, and also not the fantasy, because it's all about our inner truth. So I also was feeling like BG5 is wonderful, but with the 62, I feel like you can take it, you can use it into your advantage to go into detail to some things you are working on, and to use it, and maybe if you are invited to talk about it with people, but also to be aware that you don't put it on yourself, because sometimes your feelings of what is inside you doesn't make sense, and then it isn't that logical, and then maybe you can get in your head and you can drive yourself nuts. So please take a look at a form, take a look at and see what shows up, what maybe you miss details, maybe you find yourself looking at things that you say, oh wow, I never knew that. But also be aware and use your decision-making strategy to know if what you are pondering about is correct for you. So, and have a wonderful week.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Linda. And let's go to Debbie.
So I think how I can apply this is it helps me with learning human design and at BG5, the details. I mean, I'm so fascinated by the details and I want more and I hunger for that. So it just fascinates me how this all shows up.
Love it. Yeah, thank you, Debbie. And Shelley.
Yeah, I applaud everything you've all said. It's for me, because I don't have this and I feel a little disconnected from it, and yet I recognize that I have been having to take care of details that I don't actually like the details unless it's something I'm super interested in, like BG5, then I need all of them. But lately what I've had to be dealing with are things like insurance and renewing details of life that are, to me, boring. I'd rather have the fantasy. But I'm having to focus on those this week. And it's helpful to know that it's timed, sort of, it's not going to last forever. It's just a little snippet in time. I can focus on the details for this time. And also, I think the bigger thing for me has always been about, when I do gather all those details, is making sure that before I'm sharing them with people, that I've been recognized and invited to share those with people. Yeah, so those are my lasting thoughts.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Shelley. And thank you, Debbie. And thank you, Natalie. And thank you, Linda. Really, really great discussion, and really a lot of ahas, and being able to see things in those different perspectives, and taking a look at the 62 and what it's all about, and looking at those details. So thank you all very, very much. And this week, we're going to be, taking a look at what do you think. So you may hear a lot of people talking about what they think and sharing the details of what they think. And they're, it's part of the strength of opinions as well. So you may hear a lot of opinions also. So with that, we're going to wrap up for today. Next week, we'll be taking a look at I Believe. So we'll be taking a look at the other side with the stimulating storyteller in the 56. All right, everyone, have a fabulous week. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.